Okay, so this is a super basic technique, and my video is a little bit long, so I just want to do a really quick demonstration at the very beginning here, just to show you it's actually very straightforward. Because I'm pretty excited about this technique, and I don't want it to look too confusing. So fill, none, convert to curve, so that we can add bevel depth here, sure, and then convert to mesh. Yeah, we're gonna give it a new material, and again, I'll be going through all of this slower in a second. Let's make it a nice blue. 5. Look at it rendered. Turn on the bloom. Yes, that's a great neon sign. Now, typically, to make this animate, what we'd have to do is we'd have to make each letter its own material, and we would just keyframe the different letters turning off and on. And that, if you have any sort of complexity in your design, it can get very confusing. And so I kept wishing that there were an easier way. And so what we're gonna do is we're actually going to, let's open up the shader editor here. I'm gonna hit Control T, pow, and load in a little texture I just made, the flicker controller. And here, I'll open up the UV editor. Papa, where is it? There we go. And you can see it's doing some nonsense, so I'm gonna hit U, project from view, to stick that in there. And now this is actually controlling what's going on. If I go into individual origins, I can shrink these down to be like very, very small. And so now as they pass, you know, and they're in white, they're bright. If they're black, they're off. Boop, boop, boop. And so we can use that to, like, let's set them all up in kind of a line here, and then just put them kind of at a diagonal. So as they go, you know, as they move, they'll be like pow, 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 pow. And the reason this works is because we can actually animate this very value. So I'm gonna add a keyframe here. Poop. I'm gonna add another keyframe here. Boop. I'm gonna right click or Shift E down here and linear extrapolation. And look at that, now we can just animate our neon signs easy as pie. We can have them all turn off and on at the exact same time. Boom, 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 boom. We have them, you know, dissolve if we wanted. Woo, which neon signs can't really do, but it's nice. It's nice to have the option. We can randomize, just every letter's doing something else. So let's go through this in a little bit more detail here. I just wanted to show you the broad strokes first, because this has been, I'm very excited about this. This is all just a curve object, and I keep just kind of like going in and, you know, like turning hitting V and giving this setting the handle type to vector, so I can just extrude it out and kind of make these, you know, clean shapes. Woo! And then I'll usually go in and, you know, like I did with all the letters, extrude some backwards and maybe tuck them away somewhere. And what I'm gonna try right now is turning the depth down so it's just a straight line. Let's save this in case things get crazy. Neon sign flickers. I'm going to convert it to a mesh, which just gives us these straight lines here. I'm gonna select everything and hit Control Shift B, which lets me bevel just individual points. And you can see that results in just curving the whole thing out, because there's nothing more annoying than a neon sign with perfect 90-degree angles, because that just can't happen. And so now if we hit F3 and convert that back to a curve, look at that, and we can increase the depth, and we've got our neon sign, but with all of our realistic curves in it. Oh, that looks a lot better to me. I think so. And there's a couple places where it looks like we have some overlaps, and we could probably fix that, but we won't. I want to do, let's see, let's add something here like I don't know, what's this advertising? Magic tuna. Yes, this is the place to go for all of your magic tuna needs. Magic. Let's pick a good font. The bold font. That's nice. Magic. Oh, yes. And tuna. Everybody knows tuna is the most magical of all aquatic creatures. What's the best way to do this? Maybe it's, no. I'm just trying to figure out the easiest way. Fill mode, you can just change it to none, and that's fine. Can we just do this and hit Control J to join them? Oh, convert to curve. Convert to curve. Excellent. And now we can probably hit Control J. Yes, we've got it all. these bits right here are a little funky, so maybe what we should do is, before we merge them, we're going to convert to mesh like we did. Whoa, those G's are a little wild, so I'm just going to select everything that looks like it has a nice sharp corner here. You got to do some things by hand, you know. That's curves go all the way up there, so I'm not even gonna worry. Oh. Okay, and then Control Shift B. Yes. Good. And now, oh, convert back to curve. The way I pull up that is I just hit F3 and it lets you type in random commands that maybe you don't remember where they are in the, I can also turn on screencast keys, in the menus. Okay, is that one still, that one's still a mesh. Convert to curve, okay. Okay, so there we go. We've got our signs going. In fact, let's add some of these guys here, just kind of these filler bits. I want this thing to feel kind of complex, you know? This is maybe too complex. Just get rid of one of these. Okay. I have all of them selected. Let's scale these out. We'll do the same thing. Uh-oh. Up here. Cool. And maybe we should just select all of these ones on the end. And just like really pull it back and pull it over, because they should all be going somewhere. I'll have some sort of manifold whatever thing over here. Yeah, and now can we just, we're gonna separate these ones from this guy. If we hit Control J, yes, okay, so we've got our neon sign. I like it. We'll put it on some sort of back plate or something like that. But let's make it, give it a quick neon texture. I'm just gonna go straight emission on this one because that's all I'm really interested in right now. Here, we'll make it a nice neon and an Eevee with bloom on. How's that look? Yes, that's neon. Now I'm gonna try something. Okay, so I just made this, and it's you read it kind of vertically, and these are just patterns of the lights being on, off, on, off, on, off, on, off, on, off, on, off, on, off. And so we're gonna hop over into here, and I'm gonna hit Control T because I have the node wrangler on, and that gives me all of these image things right here, so I can just load it in. Load in the flicker controller, and instead of color, I'm gonna go into strength, and now we just have to assign each of these to a place on the flicker controller, which is really easy. Unfortunately, you can't UV unwrap curves, and so we're just gonna convert F3, convert it to mesh from curve. But now it's all actually made of vertices. And if we go into the UV editor here, whoa! You can see it's already made some stuff. There's our flicker texture in the back. But I'm gonna hit U, project from view, and now we have our whole sign. And if you go into rendered view here, look at that. So it's just showing, it's just directly translating. And so one thing that we can do is you can actually animate where UVs are. If we go back into the UV or the shader editor here, you can see we have this location. Ooh. So I'm gonna hover over it and hit I to add a keyframe there, and then I'm gonna go a little later. In order to see the keyframes that we're adding down here in the timeline, you have to have both the object and the node selected, I think. But I'm gonna animate this a little bit so it goes down, add another one. And if I hover over these, I can hit Shift E, linear extrapolation, so it'll just keep it going. And you can also, like, you can change the speed by making it, you know, closer together or further apart. Okay, but this is kind of cool. It's making stuff happen, but it's obviously like neon signs don't just, you know, glow halfway like this. That's kind of crazy. So we can go into the UV editor, and just right off the bat, we could just shrink everything down to like really small. So now every neon piece is only occupying like one small point. And you can see right here, like as we move this around, as we move this around, the different pieces are moving in and out of the black and white areas and controlling that. And because we've added an animation, everything is basically, it's as if the UVs are moving up through here. So look at that. It's all doing its flicker thing. And we can do cool stuff with this. So like this outer frame, you can see here's the bit right here. I'm gonna stick this in this white area, so no matter where it goes, it's always gonna be on. We can do the opposite with this one and just stick it in this black area over here. But we can do even cooler stuff. So what's the best way to do this? I'm gonna select all of these border areas. All right, and I'm gonna assemble them up here, and I want to just kind of go clockwise. So here I'm gonna go into a median point. Gonna keep the pattern going like this, and like that. Just kind of getting them all up into one row, and like that. And now I can shrink them down. And so, like if we put them right here, stretched all the way around, as they move up, this one black bit will cycle through all of them. So you can see there's just, here, let's turn off the viewport, too noisy. You can see there's just this dark area chasing around. Or we can make it a little bigger, like, let's have it half and half. So now half of it is on, half of it is off. And that's nifty. Or maybe just do something like this. Yeah! Or, which doesn't make any sense neon-wise, because I don't think you can actually fade neon. But, I like this a lot. Or let's say we go through here with the magic, pow, and we say, right now we can we have them all kind of in a row. Let's shrink them down like this, and we'll put them at a slight angle so that like they actually go through it kind of in a sequence like that. Ooh, and I think this whole thing's going a little bit fast, so maybe I will pull this keyframe out a bit. Cool. Let's have all of this tuna here, all strobe at once. So you project from view. I'm just going to shrink this down really, really small and put it like right here. Boom, 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 boom. These bars. Ooh, let's start playing around with different colors before we go any further. We can get kind of crazy with the nodes. And what I like about, and we're going to turn this into a neon group that we can just apply on any object. And what I like about groups is it gives you the ability to make global tweaks, but also individual tweaks. Anything that's inside the node group, you can apply to multiple different materials, but you can still tweak everything, you know, globally. So if we wanted to go in and tweak just how the neon looks overall, like the glass tubes, we can do that and it'd affect everything, but still lets us apply individual colors to specific bits of the neon. And I'll show you what I'm talking about. So let's see, right here, this controls the color. Let's make pink. I'm going to use an add shader to add whatever values the neon are to just a glossy, you know, just so that when it's off, it's still reflecting something in the environment. Make it a little darker here. Woo! Cool. And I might do the thing, I've talked about this before, but we can create a gradient so that a lot of times they'll paint these back pipes where it goes behind black so it doesn't affect the pattern. And we can mix that in really easily. I'm gonna add a diffuse shader here, just kind of a dark paint one. Cool, now we can toggle between the two. But I want to control that with a gradient. So gradient texture. Woo! I don't know if I should use factor or color. And if I hit Control T, it'll bring up the mapping nodes. And I think all I have to do is rotate this 270, and it should. Is it already doing it? Sometimes if you're working two-dimensionally, it's kind of hard to get a sense of like where the gradient is. So I'll actually like rotate it to form a cube here. And let's use object coordinates instead. And yeah, there we go. Okay, now we can easily see that it's just this much is dark, this much is bright. And we can use a color ramp to really dial that in. So if we zoom in here, we can just go. Okay, so now everything in the back is this dark diffuse material. Everything in the front still stays neon, and now we can delete that. Okay, that's looking cool. So hopefully all of this node stuff makes sense. What I'm gonna do is select all of this, and we're just gonna make this our neon group. So Control G. We can now tab in and out of this new node group. Oh, I accidentally included the material output. I didn't mean to do that, so I'll leave this one outside. Control G. Yes, good, good. And what this does is it gives us both inputs and outputs, and that's when we tab out, that's places we can plug things into the node and places we can plug things out. So I'm going to create a couple new inputs here with, let's say, the color. We can control that for each instance individually. And let's also do, well, okay. So one problem we have right now is the strength is being controlled by this JPEG. Black is 0% intensity, and white is just 1, which means it has a maximum emission value of 1, which isn't very bright as far as like things go. So I'm gonna stick in a math node here and just set it to multiply. So now we can just multiply that to be very bright or very dim, which is nifty. It doesn't affect the black. I was worried for a while that it would be like multiplying it and it would become like negative light, and which would be kind of weird. But because it's multiplying it by 0, it doesn't really do anything. So I'm gonna stick that one over here too. Pow! So now when we tab out, we can control both the color of the neon and how bright we want it to be. And if we want, we can even go in here and under item, we can change it to just be like neon. Nifty. Okay, so now let's start splitting this up. I want these border pieces here to be a different color, so I'm just gonna make them a different object to make it easy to manage. And let's just click this button to make this a new neon, and that should mean that we can just, yeah, tweak the colors however we want. So let's have this magic be like maybe orange here. P, separate it into a different object. Click this button to make it another neon material, so we can make it, you know, let's wait till it's on. Yeah. And this would be really hard to animate because you'd be having keyframes for each individual object. You'd need different materials for every single object. That would be wacky and no fun at all. Let's make this tuna kind of chasing just like the magic, just because I really like that effect. So UV editor, scale it up. I'm gonna scale down each individual one though. Pow, and make them so they're all kind of flat. And let's see. Yeah, just chasing tuna. And if we wanted, you know, we could reverse it so it's going the other way. Whoa, but that's kind of weird. You want it to go the normal way. Okay, so let's do something fun with these lines right here. First, I'm gonna make them a different color. Let's make them green. P, selection, yes. Make them a new material. It's gonna be green, sure. This is not actually great neon design. I'm just trying to demonstrate the stuff that you could do if you wanted. Okay, and if we look at these, here they are right here, and they're gonna be going in order. Like it's gonna be going poo 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 poo. So we can stick these next to each other, and yeah, they're kind of going down like that. That's cool. I'm gonna reverse this one and stick it here. So as they go, it's kind of forming a cool mirroring effect, and we can flip it so it's radiating outwards from the magical tuna. Nice. This let's see, this border here, I should separate this border piece out into being a new object so it doesn't accidentally select all of these other bits. Here, just a sec. Okay, so now I'm gonna just hit P, selection, and I can turn this into, you know, whatever color I want. In fact, let's play with the color design for a second. Cool. And I'm gonna make this, it's a little too confusing right now, so I'm gonna make it mostly on with just like a dark piece chasing it around like that. In fact, if I double this in height, scale 2, there should be 2 going around because it's wrapping around and it's using the image twice. So there we go. Kind of interesting. Whoa. It's kind of nifty. Anyway, so I'm really excited about this because this type of stuff would be pretty darn hard to try to make by hand. So, wow.